Welcome to another Leaving Fundamentalism vlog. Today we are looking at Social Studies 97 because this will be one of the ones that NARIC looked at when they said that the International Certificate of Christian Education is of comparable academic standing to A-levels. For those of you that have not been following this story, the government agency UK NARIC, they've approved the International Certificate of Christian Education, which is based on accelerated Christian education, and said the material that they teach is academically rigorous. Let's have a look at what they get taught. This is the first of the world history. Creation, the Garden of Eden, Noah, then Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, Shem, the Akkadians, Babylonia, Egypt. Here we go. We begin this study of world history with God's creation of our universe. Okay? Genesis 1:1 says that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. This statement tells us that God created the universe. The Bible tells us how God created the earth, as well as how he created plants, animals and man. Let me just check what subject this is again. Yep, it's definitely history. The theory of evolution states that everything on the earth began in a one-celled organism and evolved eventually, scare quotes, into man. The theory further states that man evolved from an ape-like creature and was not created. This theory says that man is just another kind of animal. This theory is directly opposed to what the Bible says concerning the creation of the earth and the beginnings of mankind. The Bible says man was created in the image of God and is not an animal. So, very old book 1, evolution nil. Then we have some comprehension questions on that. Quote Genesis 1:1, which wouldn't be that hard. Blank plant and animal was created for a blank or special purpose in God's orderly blank. Every plant and animal was created for a specific or special purpose in God's orderly universe. So there we go. We've got the answers to those questions because we just have to take them word for word from the text that we've just read. That's how this works. No thinking required. Just put the missing word into the blank. Okay, so then creation done with, early history, brilliant. So we've done with the fiction now, let's get on with the real stuff. Garden of Eden. Oh, here's an interesting question. Why did God decide to destroy mankind? Noah, we're doing next. Right, okay. Whose family was not wicked like the rest of mankind? Blank. Noah's. How long did Noah preach to people? 120 years, which is interesting because I'm confident he would have died. What did Noah do when time for the flood came? He took the living creatures into the ark 2 by 2. There we go. This is good for a year 10 history syllabus for children that are 14 rising 15. Like, this is the thing. This is what I don't get, Narek. Like, there are two things here. One, the content is not historical fact. Two, this is so easy. It's so easy. Ignoring the fact that we're learning fiction here, at least Mesopotamia, blank, a fertile area. This is a multiple choice question. We can choose between is and is not. Look how long the paragraph is that we're doing comprehension questions based on. There are 4 sentences and we've got 3 comprehension questions based on 4 sentences. Of course it's not sodding hard. The Sumerians, a short people of unknown origins, came to Mesopotamia sometime after the flood and conquered this area. They called Mesopotamia Sumer. That's not true. That can't be true. The Sumerian civilization predates all of this stuff. So let's have a look. Got some text. The best preserved of these temple towers is at Ur of the Chaldees. Let's have a look here. The best preserved temple tower is at blank of the Chaldees. Oh, here's my favourite question. Have you prayed about this pace yet? Blank. I wonder what answer you're supposed to write there. That's not in the text. That must be one of the abstract thinking questions. Egypt. This is very interesting because if you look at the building of the pyramids and what they say about the flood. So they're saying that the flood was happening in 2000 BC or so, and that the population of the world went down to 8 people. But then they reckon that the pyramids were built Who built the pyramids? The thing about all of this, right, I want you to see, is this whole booklet is 24 pages long. There it is. See, 24 pages. In 24 pages, we have covered the creation of the world, the Garden of Eden, Noah, the Sumerian civilization, a bunch of other ancient civilizations, including the Chaldeans, and the whole of the Egyptian civilization. And we've had all the information that we need to know about this and answered the questions on it to test that we've learnt this. And that's the whole book, and that includes revision sections. Secondary level education students need to engage with material at a deep and meaningful level. Knowing a few dates of things that happened in the ancient world, especially fictional dates, is not especially helpful. What you want to be doing is looking at the sources. How do we know what we know about the Egyptians? Is the information that we have about the Egyptians reliable? What sources are they based on? And are those sources true? Do we have eyewitness accounts? If we have eyewitness accounts, are those eyewitness accounts reliable? Were those people telling the truth? Can we evaluate the sources that we have and say which ones we think are more reliable and which ones are less reliable? Do the sources that we have agree with each other, or do they conflict? And when they conflict, why do they conflict? And is this a problem? And how do we decide which of those conflicting accounts to believe, or where the truth lies between the two of them? That's what the study of history is. This is not the study of history. This is the study of jumping through hoops. This is a travesty, and I cannot fathom why UK NARIC would look at this and say, okay, if you do enough of these booklets, that's the same as doing your A-levels. Because I don't care how many of these you do, you're not going to have engaged meaningfully on any level with any of the material. If you haven't engaged meaningfully with it, you haven't learnt anything. You've learnt a bunch of isolated facts to put on the blank, such as the centre of the Mesopotamian city-state was the blank. I know that I took this test in probably 1998, and I know that I got 100% on it. I can't remember that. And that's true for a lot of people's education. But if you learn processes, then those things stay with you, right? When I left ACE and I went to a proper school, they taught me about the evaluation of sources and how to judge truth claims, and those skills are still with me, even though I can't remember any of the facts that I learned here. If you only teach facts, once those facts are forgotten, they're useless to you. If you teach how to learn and how to think, then those skills stay with you. And this is not an education. It's just not.